This is the AEW Dynamite January 29, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Huntsville, Alabama's Probst Arena. The show started with a match between Brian Cage vs. Osprey. Don Callis cuts a quick promo before the action, showing Kenny Omega laid out backstage and laughing, and Cage takes advantage by putting boots to Osprey. Osprey shoves him into the post, right hands pop up on the barricade, diving, but Brian catches him into a delayed vertical, marching him halfway around the ring before completing the suplex. Back into the ring, Brian rams him into the turnbuckles, following it up with a reverse chinlock. Mounted punches, Cage puts him in the bear hug and will fights out with punches. Brian chops him into the ropes, whip across, handspring kick gets Osprey a fighting chance. Then a scudder, but Brian cuts him down with a lariat and hits a Revolution Liger bomb. Then Cage puts out the imaginary cigar on Osprey's back, but he counters and Brian knocks Lance off the apron. In the end, Osprey won the match by pinfall after hitting a Styles Clash. Post-match, Archer and Cage light on Osprey and beat him down, but Kenny Omega makes the save with chair in hand. Swatting Lance and Brian away, he checks on Will, but Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita show up and that damn numbers game wins out as it always does. Fletcher and Takeshita delivered a stereo tombstone piledriver and the Callis family stands tall. Backstage, Renee Paquette is waiting outside of Shane Strickland's door when Hangman Adam Page rolls up opening doors. She asks for comment, he refuses, he runs into Maxwell Jacob Friedman and runs off, leaving MJF to complain to Renee. He ignores her at first and blames the ADD before saying tonight he's going to prove his words aren't just beautiful poetry, but prophecy, and tonight Jarrett is going to have to fight half-man, half-horse Claudio Castagnoli. He's gonna have a new offer for Jarrett, and it's gonna be his last ride. Back from the commercial, Powerhouse Will Hobbs cuts a promo and he says he wasn't cleared to travel to Dynamite tonight, but when he's cleared, he's going to show Big Bill that hell is just the beginning. The next match happened between Claudio Castagnoli vs. Jarrett. Castagnoli in control early, taking Jarrett down with a lariat, neutralizer countered. Jeff rolls through and applies the figure 4 leglock, then Wheeler Uda comes to ringside. Jarrett ends up going after him. Then Claudio charges in with an uppercut for 2, then Double J with the side Russian leg sweep, getting fired up, Castagnoli firing uppercuts to cut him off, but Jeff returns fire and hangs in there. Figure 4 denied this time, Jarrett sidesteps the charge and kicks away at Claudio's knee. Claudio's knee comes up lame, but he shakes it off and puts Jarrett in the sharpshooter. Then Uda slides a chair in the ring and runs interference. Jeff decks him, ducks the chair, looking for the stroke, but Jon Moxley runs in and spikes him with the paradigm shift. In the end, Claudio Castagnoli won the match by pinfall with the neutralizer. Post-match, as Jarrett recovers, Maxwell Jacob Friedman comes to the ring and Max begins to speak and then immediately clocks Jarrett with a loaded punch. He says he respects his elders and that's why he's not going to say he told him so, and he drops the mic on Jarrett's unconscious body and walks away. Back from the commercial, Renee Paquette interviews Ricochet and he's glad that Swerve Strickland is prohibited from interfering tonight under pain of losing his match next week, but he's going to save further commentary for a sit-down on Saturday, and right now he's gonna go take care of the situation. The next match happened between AR Fox vs. Ricochet. Ricochet gets him in the corner and breaks dirty with a shove. Fox ducks under, side headlock, shot off, shoulder blocks, duck a lariat, headlock takeover, reversed into a pin, but AR hangs in there. Ricochet to the floor, Fox dives on him and he's fired up. Fox trying to mount a comeback, Enzwajiri, Fisherman Buster, but in the end, Ricochet defeated AR Fox by pinfall with vertigo. Post-match, Shane Strickland rushes down to beat the holy hell out of Ricochet the very first moment he's allowed to, throwing him into the steel steps and then back inside, but Ricochet runs away brandishing the scissors for a standoff. Back from the commercial, Chris Jericho gets his New York Minute in and he promotes his new movie Dark Match, and Big Bill says he feels like he understands Jericho's words in a way he never has before and he feels stronger. Chris says that makes him proud of himself and tells him to work harder next time. Chris questions the veracity of the Outrunners gimmick and Brian Keith shouts out the Mandela effect by way of explanation. The next match happened between Switchblade Jay White vs. Wheeler Uda. Struggling into the corner, White fights out with chops, wrist lock from Uda, roll through and counter with a chop, more chops, back body drop, action to the floor. More chops, Wheeler cuts him off with a basement dropkick, smashes his ankle into the steps and then props his foot up on the frame of the ring before stomping the knee and throwing him back inside. White throwing chops, Uda kicks his leg out of his leg. Up top, jockeying for position, Jay knocks him down with elbows, back on the mat and he hits a dragon screw that sends Wheeler crashing into the corner. then suplex lift up into that corner, up top, superplex. In the end, Jay White defeated Wheeler Uda by pinfall by Blade Runner. Post-match, he hits another Blade Runner for good measure. Up for a third, but here comes Jon Moxley and Marina Shaffer. Moxley up on the apron, Claudio Castagnoli attacks him from behind and Death Riders put boots to White until Rated-FTR make the save. The heels back off and Dax Harwood gets on the mic and he says he has a problem when Death Riders try to end Ricky Morton's life, and Dennis Condrey of the Midnight Express is here and in Dennis Condrey's name, he wants FTR vs Death Riders in a Mid-South Street fight on Collision. Renee Paquette is on the stage to interview Mariah May and May says it's great to be in Huntsville but perhaps we should change the first letter to AC and she yells about how Toni Storm isn't real. She says if she wants to play the role of Toni Storm, she should play the Toni who gave her heart to a woman who used her for gold. Or the Toni whose most memorable moment was bleeding and crying in her hands, or the Toni who walked out of Wembley Stadium in Japan and Mexico because she couldn't touch her. Play whatever Toni you like, the ending stays the same and she doesn't need to roleplay because when you're this good, you don't change a thing. She is the woman from hell and she always will be and she will remind Storm for the rest of her life. Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo cut a promo backstage calling Harley Cameron out for sticking her boobs where she doesn't belong and they need to take what they deserve and whatnot. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Mercedes Moan vs Yuka Sakazaki for the AEW TBS Championship. Sakazaki working a wrist lock, Moan reverses to a hammerlock, off the ropes, Yuka clocks her with a lariat and jumps over a heel trip. Trading snapmare, hanging up in the ropes, rolling ghetto clutch into a sunset flip, only 2. Sliding lariat countered into a crucifix for 2, then arm drag sends Sakazaki to the floor, she spins Mercedes around and cocks a snook at her. Mercedes goes up top, Yuka cuts her off, jockeying for position, superplex connects, Moanmaker countered, super kick sends the champion into the ropes, wrist clutched, merry-go-round, but Mercedes kicks out. Head scissors puts Yuka into the turnbuckles, bank statement, reversed into a pin for a near fall. Rolling elbow from the challenger, rolling into a seatbelt pin, cover for 2, magical girl splash, the knees are up, then front kick from Mercedes, powerbomb follows. In the end, Mercedes defeated Yuka Sakazaki by pinfall with the Moanmaker, retaining the AEW TBS Championship. Mercedes celebrates, and the show goes off the air. This week's AEW Dynamite was an exciting show with a mix of intense matches, strong promos, and intriguing storyline developments. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it around 8 out of 10. What you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with my rating? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates, match results, and more wrestling content. Also, if you enjoyed this review, please like the video to support the channel. Thanks for watching.